This was the day of March 25th, 421 AD, meaning 1,604 years ago from today, when several barbaric tribes attacked the Roman Empire. Barbarians and Huns attacked many cities of the Roman Empire and caused massive destruction. The people living there wanted to flee to save their lives, but on one side the Adriatic Sea and on the other side the Tyrrhenian Sea were blocking their path. They had only one option left, therefore they started fleeing to the nearby islands formed in the sea. Upon reaching there, they escaped from the attacks, but these islands were formed in a coastal lagoon whose soil was so soft that even a human could not stand on it. But going against all difficulties, these people not only settled here, but also showed engineering feats one after another, and built buildings, canals, and even bridges. There was neither solid ground nor clean drinking water. But still the Venetian people made it the most powerful city. But how did all this become possible? Those small islands, on which standing was not even possible. How was such a large metropolis built there? That too, approximately 1,600 years ago. Welcome once again to the videos of TITANS Network. The people who initially went to these islands, after leaving the Roman cities, had no shelter to live here. Soft ground like mortar, on which placing anything would start sinking inside. At that time, many people suggested going back to the shore, but return meant death. Barbarians and Huns were some nomadic tribes of northern Europe who conducted an invasion here, taking advantage of the weakness of the Roman Empire. The situation was so serious at that time that living on these soft islands became their compulsion. 5 kilometers away from the shore, there were more than 150 small marshy islands, but all of them had the same condition. During this time, one person from among the refugees was sinking into the ground. To save himself, he drove his boat's paddle into the ground, and it became completely solid after going several feet down. From here they got an innovative idea that later became the foundation of the city of Venice. From here, a few kilometers away where today's Croatia is, massive trunks of trees were brought from the forests, and they were hammered into the marshy islands by knocking them in. After going approximately 5 meters down, these trunks would go into the hard soil of the ground and make their firm grip. They were hammered very close to each other so that a stable platform could be formed. After inserting the wooden piles inside, the upper part of them was cut and leveled, and wooden planks were laid on top so that the entire load could be distributed equally among the planks. To raise this foundation above the water level, special limestone blocks were placed. The load of stones on top and 5-meter-long wooden piles below, this simple combination was enough to create a strong foundation. The wooden trunks that were now underwater swelled up and became tight with each other, and no space was left for air to pass between them. This is the reason that the piles that were driven in Venice approximately 1,000 years ago are still in perfect condition today, supporting the weight of the city. After laying the foundation, work began on building structures on top of it. Initially, Venetian people built wooden houses, but often fire would break out in them during cooking and such. Later, the use of bricks also started. To keep buildings light, houses were not kept larger than 3 stories. Between the bricks, special mortar made from limestone powder was placed, so that along with strength, the walls would also remain flexible. Floors and interior walls were built from wooden planks, which were held by inserting iron rods from outside. This innovative idea became quite famous in Venice, and soon islands filled with houses in the same manner. Generally, cities expand outward, but Venice started expanding inward. Initially, it was such that to go from one island to another island, only boats were the support. But later, when the population started increasing, islands came closer and closer to each other, and now, in the shallow water between them, one could also traverse islands by sitting on horses. In the city of Venice, now the greatest need was to connect these islands with each other. For the first 500 years, these islands were not connected with each other. But when the population increased considerably and commerce started flourishing, the business hub here, which is called Rialto, first an attempt was made to build a simple wooden bridge here. This bridge is called a pontoon bridge, in which a passage is created with the help of floating devices. Reaching Rialto from this bridge became easy. But because it stood on the support of floats, therefore it remained quite unstable, and often people would also fall from it. Later, a permanent wooden bridge was also built here, but in the year 1310, it was set on fire due to riots. Even after catching fire, the Rialto Bridge remained resilient for the next 140 years. But finally, in the year 1444, it collapsed due to excessive load. Finally, to connect Rialto, an intention was made to build Venice's first stone bridge here. To build it, the same method was relied upon, with the help of which thousands of houses were built here. More than 12,000 wooden piles were driven into the banks of the canal, and on top of them, an arch bridge of stone weighing 10,000 tons was constructed. This bridge was so successful that throughout Venice, bridges made of stone in the same manner started being built. Even today, these bridges stand with the same durability, bearing the weight of crowds of people. With the help of these bridges, going from one island to another became even more convenient. In the city of Venice, there are no roads but only canals, and by navigating through these canals, one reaches from one place to another. The advantage Venice got from this was that transporting goods and such to any corner of the city becomes quite easy. In ordinary cities at that time, pedestrians and horse carriages had the same path, due to which there was considerable congestion. But Venice was completely distinct from that. Here, the path of pedestrians is completely separate from the boats running in the canal. And the biggest advantage is that anyone can disembark from the canal anywhere and quickly reach their home. Soon, Venice became the most powerful and wealthy city of Europe, and the biggest reason for this was its strategic location. If looked at on the map, this is the Adriatic Sea, at whose end is Venice. And this sea goes straight and meets the Mediterranean Sea, and the Mediterranean Sea is connected to Africa, Europe, and the Middle East, all three. Even today, the easiest and cheapest method of transportation of goods is considered the maritime route. That is, to reach from the Middle East and Eastern Europe to Western Europe, where Italy, Austria, Hungary, Germany, and France are, ships could easily come to the end of the Adriatic Sea, where Venice is present today. Although Eastern Europe is connected with the West by land route, but because at that time the only means of transport were ships, therefore all goods from the Black Sea to the Mediterranean and then to the Adriatic Sea were sent in ships only. And because the arrival of cargo ships here was more, therefore affordable cargo ships for sending goods from Western Europe to Eastern Europe were also available from Venice only because they had to return empty. Due to business activity, Venetian people became quite prosperous. Seeing this, people from surrounding countries also started settling in Venice, and soon the population here increased considerably. Now in Venice, the demand for drinking water increased much beyond limits. Although Venice is surrounded by water on all sides, but this is saline water of the sea which cannot be drunk. Due to the absence of natural springs or rivers, fresh water did not accumulate here. In Venice, drinking water was brought from the mainland loaded in drums in boats. But when the population here became 170,000, scarcity of water started occurring. At this critical point, Venetian engineers needed to use their brains once again. Something innovative had to be done so that the growing population of Venice could get drinking water. Otherwise, the business here could also be adversely affected. In Venice itself, there were some parts of islands where construction had not occurred. On those islands, a deep pit was dug to collect rainwater, and its walls were made waterproof with clay and mortar. If you are thinking that in these deep pits rainwater will be stored directly, then it is not so. Rather, the thinking of Venetian people was more sophisticated than this. In these pits, a well was built, and sand and stones were placed around its periphery, and tiles were placed on top, and a plain surface was made again. Some apertures were left on the surface, through which rainwater could penetrate inside. This water, while percolating through sand and stones, when it accumulated in the well, it also got filtered. This is a natural process of filtration of water. When rainwater comes down from mountains in the form of springs, passing through rocks and minerals, it becomes completely pure, fit for drinking. The filter system of Venice operated on this principle. But the question is, how much rainwater could be collected in such a limited area. For this, pipes were installed on the rooftops of surrounding houses, which started doing the work of channeling rainwater directly into this filter. In this way, the surface area for collection of water was also maximized. Soon, more than 600 small and large filter wells were installed in Venice. 10 to 12 houses collectively started sharing one filter well. Venetian people once again prepared a masterpiece to preserve their city. But still in Venice, one big predicament was present: sewerage. Generally in cities, underground sewerage lines are laid, which take waste remotely from the city. But in Venice, there is no ground, so where would sewerage lines be installed? Until now in Venice, people would dispose of waste in the canal itself. But those whose houses did not have a canal passing directly in front, they would discard their garbage on the pathways itself. Due to this, these pathways often remained filled with filth and stench. In the 16th century, Venetian people built drains for waste collection from houses, with the help of which waste would go straight and discharge into the canal. These drains were kept elevated above the normal level of the canal, due to which the liquid waste of drains would flow into the canal immediately, but solid waste would accumulate in the drain itself. Then at the time of high tide, when the level of the canal would increase, water would flush the solid waste present inside the drains into the canal. High tide comes twice a day in the sea, and in this way, drains would cleanse themselves twice a day. Due to high and low tides, twice a day, seawater would surge into the canals of Venice and replace the contaminated water. In this way, not only the drains of houses but also the canals of Venice would remain sanitized. And because this is salt water which also functions as a disinfectant, even today in Venice, the same sewerage system is operational. Remarkably, the engineering with which Venice was constructed 1,600 years ago is still functional today. The foundation of buildings, canals, bridges, and sewerage system. Let me tell you that Venice is slowly subsiding into the ground. This is a natural phenomenon due to which every year this city is sinking 1 to 2 millimeters down. This is a unique city of the world where there are neither vehicles nor motorcycles. Every year flooding comes here, which is called acqua alta. In winters, the water level here becomes quite elevated and often walkways become submerged in water. Every year, 6 million people visit Venice, but currently, the local population here is even diminished below 50,000. Hope that this content will also be appreciated by you people. Immense thanks for your supportive comments. We will meet in the next informative video.